is really happening?
Yeah, it's happening.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a brand new Jurassic World Chaos Theory video. Today, I've watched Chaos Theory. I know, crazy. So firstly, massive shout out and thanks to DreamWorks Animations and Netflix for providing me early access to this show. It's been a long time coming. I watched it all last night. Okay, we're going to discuss it. I'm going to go completely off script here. But before we get into the video, please do consider subscribing to the channel as we have loads and loads of Chaos Theory videos coming in the future. Trust me, a lot more than you think. We also have Jurassic 7 news as well coming very, very soon. And we have Jurassic World Evolution 3. So if you want more Jurassic World related content here on YouTube, then you know what to do. Press that red subscribe button. And for today's video, we're aiming for 2,000 likes. So if you're excited to learn my review for Jurassic World Chaos Theory Season 1, then go ahead and press that like button. But without any further ado, once you're ready, once you're sat back, relaxed, it's time to hear my review on Jurassic World Chaos Theory. So initially, what are my first thoughts of Chaos Theory? Well, you guys are going to be in for a treat. That's for sure. This review, whilst I am going to talk about the negatives, is full of positives, and overall the show it's good. It's really good, I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to be biased at all whatsoever. I'm going to be proper critical about it, but even when I'm trying to be critical about this show, honestly, as the title says, this is what Jurassic needed for a long, long time, and I mean that. I genuinely mean that. I'm not meaning this in any bias. Even if you're somebody who hasn't watched entirely Camp Cretaceous, or you just want to learn a little bit more about Jurassic, then this is the story that you want to delve deep into. It's incredible, it's exhilarating, it's exciting. And honestly, I know some people watching Jurassic World Dominion, they had their irks with it because it didn't show how people would coexist with dinosaurs in their world. Jurassic World Chaos Theory does exactly that. So if you were somebody who hated Dominion because it didn't show how people lived with dinosaurs, Chaos Theory does that. There's so many scenes in every single episode that kind of shows how people are adapting to this new world, shows how all of these dinosaurs are now across the globe. People are utilizing these dinosaurs in different ways, secretly, illegally, multiple ways really, and it's nice. It really is nice, and that's why I didn't mind not seeing it in Dominion, because I knew eventually we'd see it in stuff like Chaos Theory. So, of course, we're going to see how dinosaurs coexist with humans in this series. So if you're excited for that, get ready for Chaos Theory. Now, one thing I actually really loved and initially noticed in the first early episodes of Chaos Theory Season 1 is that you never know what to believe. Honestly, even for me, somebody who kind of understands the process of making a show, where this is all going to go, plot twists, yada yada yada, all of this type of stuff. Even for me, I didn't know what was going to happen next. I had a thought, I had an idea, this is what's going to happen. It didn't happen because suddenly something else happened, and then that happened. And then, I'm trying not to spoil it. I'm trying not to spoil it. There's no spoilers in this video, but basically, if you think one thing, you're probably wrong. I'll be honest with you. It'll be something else. So it keeps you second guessing, it keeps you thinking, and obviously you guys know how much I love making theory videos here for the Jurassic franchise. If you love my videos and theories, you are definitely going to love Jurassic World Chaos Theory, and it actually explains why it's called Chaos Theory, which I think is amazing. This show is so much, it's filled with not just Camp Cretaceous children comedy, but more grown-up comedy, and also a lot of action. This show, there's some moments to kind of connect with the characters, to feel emotionally invested with the characters, but there's also a lot of comedic scenes and a lot of action. That's what this show is really filled up with. And talking of emotions, man, I'm a 23-year-old guy, I'll be honest with you. Never in my life did I ever think that an animated series aimed for 16 to 18-year-olds would have my emotions being tugged on so much throughout the series. It is an emotional roller coaster like never before. Even when you think back to Camp Cretaceous and you try to compare it to Chaos Theory, I think when it comes down to the emotions, Chaos Theory does very, very well, and that's what I applaud them for, because honestly, they had the balls to do certain things in this episode, which was incredible. They made me feel sorry for people I never thought I'd ever feel sorry for. It's just, wow, it's an emotional roller coaster, I'll admit it. The one thing I wasn't too much of a fan of was the marketing for the show. So whilst they didn't directly market this as more darker than Camp Cretaceous, we were led to believe that it was supposed to be darker than Camp Cretaceous, and personally speaking, I wouldn't really go too much into that. So what I mean by that is, sure, we have the idea that it is going to be darker. We saw Brooklyn's Blood in episode 1 that released to the public last week. I just don't want you guys to get your hopes up. It's not as dark as you're probably thinking in your head. Sure, maybe we have Camp Cretaceous Season 3 that's quite dark. I'd say it's on par or around that level. It's a lot more mature, that's for sure. But I wouldn't say that it is darker than Camp Cretaceous Season 3. I don't know. People have their own opinions about that. I can understand why some people might say that it is. But for me personally, it's not as dark as you're probably making out in your head. So just lower your expectations a little bit. But with that being said, where does Chaos Theory rank amongst the Camp Cretaceous seasons? Well, for me, the best season for Camp Cretaceous was Season 3. That is top dog, and I think probably one of the best things since Jurassic Park. And yes, I know that is very controversial to say. However, I would say that my current ranking goes like this. Number 1, Camp Cretaceous Season 3. Number 2, Chaos Theory Season 1. And then we have Season 1 of Camp Cretaceous, Season 2, Season 5, and Season 4. Leaving it at an 8 out of 10, which honestly is one of my higher rankings. It's probably just as good as Jurassic World Dominion, in my books that is. It's definitely high up there, and honestly is what Jurassic needs. But that's kind of like my initial thoughts. I know we're very much 8 minutes into the video, but those are my initial thoughts. So now I'm going to get a little bit more in depth and talk about, well, my dislikes and my likes for the show. So what were some dislikes? The animation was a little bit jumpy. As much as it is better than Camp Cretaceous, there were some scenes that looked like they were cut up a little bit too, well, like the Minions theatrical release. You can tell it was definitely cut up. The animation was a little bit on the jumpier side, and I kind of saw that in episode 1, and I thought maybe it's just the first episode, not a big deal. But no, you kind of do get to see that throughout the rest of the series. So hopefully they sort that out for Season 2. But it's just a bit it's a bit of a mess sometimes. And talking of which, the lip animation, if you're somebody who likes to look at mouths when people are talking, to kind of, read their lips and understand them better, I wouldn't do that in Chaos Theory. For some reason, whatever they say on screen, most of the time does not match what they actually project on their lips. It just kind of caught me off guard a little bit. So if you're somebody who focuses on the lips when people are talking, then it's probably best to just, watch the show, look in the background for things instead, because the lips don't really sync up that well when it comes to the dialogue. Talking about the conclusion, now I'm trying to stay very spoiler free here, but the show doesn't really come to a conclusion. It's very empty. The ending is very empty, understandably for certain reasons, which you'll see later on. Again, avoiding spoilers here, but I don't know, I felt like the lead up to it was very, very good. Like episodes 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 were incredible. 8 was amazing. 9 was incredible, and then 10 was just a bit, like it was supposed to be this big bad ending, but nothing really came of it, and I did felt a little bit empty with it. And as I said earlier, it wasn't as dark as some crew members were making it out to be. It does need to be, let's say, a tad bit darker, considering this is more for a more mature audience. But at the same time, if we were to play devil's advocate here, a lot more innocent people do die in this show than what we saw in Camp Cretaceous. It's not just dinosaurs now, it's people, and I'm talking random people. But unfortunately, there are a few that aren't, but there are many deaths that just kind of get cut in the same way that happened with Camp Cretaceous, and that's about it. We don't really see too much after that. 1 or 2 plot points didn't really need to be explored or discovered. Don't get me wrong, I love stories, but it just felt like at one point there were 5 main and mini storylines going on at the same time, that it just felt like it was a bit too cluttered, a bit too much in some aspects. Sure, it was fun to explore these stories, but they were just kind of pointless. And it kind of makes me think that maybe 2 episodes out of the 10 were just really filler episodes. They didn't really need to happen too much. And one I'm trying not to spoil here is that some of the newer species that we know are being introduced in Chaos Theory, they were very underwhelming. Let's just say that. Don't get too excited for some of the new species in this show just because they are very underwhelming, and they felt like they were just kind of there just to be added for the sake of canon. I'm sure in Season 2 we'll explore them a little bit more and they might be a little bit better, but in Season 1, very underwhelming. But with that being said, what are some actual likes? This seems very negative at this point in time, but what are some likes? Well, firstly, Chaos Theory is extremely story-driven. Like, I mean very, very story-driven. Like Season 3, Camp Cretaceous, story-driven. Season 2, it felt like a kind of like a filler season. It didn't need to happen, there wasn't too much main story going on. Season 1 didn't feel like that either, just because it was like a spin-off to what is actually happening at the same time in Jurassic World. But Chaos Theory, yeah, man, oh man, it's very story-driven. It has, like, let's say it has 3 main stories throughout the series, but they all connect in some way. So once story 1 is over, it kind of then flows and bleeds into the next story, which I actually really, really liked, because it just felt like there was consistency, there was good flow to the series, and it just makes it more story-driven. I say this many, many times. The Jurassic franchise is not just about the dinosaurs. For me, I fell in love with the stories of this movie franchise, and that's exactly why. Chaos Theory is exactly why. When you look at something like that, you're like, wow, okay, now I understand. For me, I wouldn't even mind if there's a Jurassic series, show, episode, movie even, where it doesn't involve dinosaurs whatsoever. Sounds crazy, but that's how good these stories can be and how much potential this universe has. And Chaos Theory, whilst it doesn't reach the potential, definitely explores that, and it does a very good job. Dinosaur animation and the models, wow, they were impeccable. Like, we saw how good some of the characters are, and we do see in the trailers how good some of the models are. But man, oh man, specifically the Atrociraptors, I tell you what, I think that's probably the best animated creatures of any kind of show or movie I've ever seen. Like, especially the Atrociraptors, they looked incredible, to the point where, if you were to not focus on the background, at a first glance, you'd look at those dinosaurs and think that they're actually CGI for a live-action movie. That's how good the animation and models of these dinosaurs actually are in Chaos Theory. They blew me away. The emotional ride of Chaos Theory. Man, there are some characters that I never thought I'd ever feel sorry for, but they got me feeling a whole different way. Like, something happened in the series where I was like, nah, and then it happened, I was like, what? No, and it kind of like tugged on my heartstrings a little bit, man. Like, again, as I said, I'm a 23-year-old man, and I felt emotionally like connected to this show in no way I've ever been before. It was crazy. So, I think whoever wrote this series, credit to you guys, because you did a great job in trying to captivate the emotions of people that you hate throughout the series, people that you hated prior to the series, and you love the new people. They did a great job on all of that, basically. Yeah, so Chaos Theory is actually more of a mature story. What I mean by that is that, these campers, they're not teenagers anymore. They are grown up, and they have their quarrels. They fight a little bit like they are still children, but they fight with purpose and meaning, and they evolve, they adapt, and they learn to love each other again. And it's more of a, how do I put this, more of like an adult tone than just kids, forgiving for the sake of forgiving, These adults actually have to work out and get together and try to work things out like adults. So it's definitely more of a mature story, allowing our minds to actively also think throughout the entire show about how to piece things together and what could actually be next. So not only do we see like the emotional maturity, but like if I was 8 years old watching Camp Cretaceous, I'd understand it. If I was 8 years old watching Chaos Theory, I'd be confused. I'd be so bored and confused. But if you're 16 to 18, which is the target audience for Chaos Theory, you look at Chaos Theory and you're thinking, wow, it gets better and better and better, if you know what I mean. Like, I hope that makes sense. But like, that's what I mean by it's more mature. Like, you kind of need to be, have a better understanding of the world, of our world, to understand Chaos Theory a little bit more. Like we had in Camp Cretaceous, there's also loads of character development, which is great, it's fantastic, and I said it's more mature of a character development. It's not just kids, being kids. It's actually adults trying to figure things out, really. And honestly, the voice acting, so much better this time around. Paul Michael-Williams, if you're watching this right now, I might DM you anyways, but if you're watching this right now, you did an incredible job as Darius. Like, I loved you in Camp Cretaceous, you did great, but for some reason, the way that you were able to portray Darius in Chaos Theory, immaculate. It was incredible. And whilst I'm on the topic of giving out compliments here, Darren Barnett, I never thought, I first heard your voice as Kenji in the trailers, and I didn't think you'd be able to do as good of a job as Ryan Potter, I'll be honest. But somehow, I don't know how you did it, you were fantastic. Like, Kenji sounded like Kenji. I didn't think it was somebody new, and you were really able to bring out the emotion of Kenji, which I did not think at all. So incredible work, incredible voice acting throughout the entire series. The introduction of new characters, wow, it's very refreshing. And see, I'm going to stay on the fence with that one because I don't know if it's refreshing, because in Camp Cretaceous we literally only had 6 campmates, and then we had kind of like cameos who'd always die. But to actually have brand new characters that we've never seen before in Jurassic World Chaos Theory, and it just felt like these characters actually had meaning, actually had purpose to the storyline. They weren't just there to try and cause an inconvenience and then die off. Those guys were actually there, added to the storyline. Maybe, some of them were left open book, that you might be able to explore them in another series, another show, or even in the season 2, who knows. But like, it just makes you think that, we needed more new characters like we didn't really have in Camp Cretaceous, and it was so refreshing to finally get that in Chaos Theory. Canon, connectivity, and references. Oh boy, let's just say I'm very excited to do my breakdowns. There were loads of references, loads of connectivities to the main storyline, the main timeline of canon, and it just, for me, that's what makes an expanded universe. Being able to connect things from a spin-off show to the main movies, like that type of shit, it's amazing. It's so good. So I'm really glad that they've really stuck their ground with that, because Camp Cretaceous did a great job, and Chaos Theory did an even better job, and I'm so excited to see what else they will explore, really. They didn't lose the feeling of dinosaurs being genuine animals and not just mindless killers. I know we kind of had that in Season 3 with the Scorpius Rex, and Season 4 and 5 for obvious reasons. But in Chaos Theory, you don't really have any of that wacky stuff. You kind of just see dinosaurs being dinosaurs for the sake of being alive. You don't see them being portrayed to do certain things. And yes, we do see the Atrociraptors, but even still, there's a sense of just, I don't know, like when you look at the Atrociraptors and you see them happen, and you see some scenes with the Atrociraptors, sure, they are supposed to come across like mindless killing machines, but you actually end up seeing the emotion, the care, and you see them as animals as well, which I think is amazing. It really is amazing. And talking of Atrociraptors, there are very, very tense scenes where, and I'll be honest, without spoiling here, you aren't even sure if some of the characters are getting out of alive. And by that, I mean the Nublar 6. Like, I am not, like, when I was watching that show, I thought he was going to die, or she was going to die. I was like, there's no way. And let's just say, plot armor, not really a thing in this show. It's still there, that's for sure. But yeah, plot armor doesn't exist like it did in Camp Cretaceous, so let's stick with that in our minds. And with that being said, with how tense it is and how you don't know if a camper is going to make it out alive or not, sometimes they don't, it's like, it has you on the edge of your seat the whole entire time. And when I mentioned the action at the start of this video, that action keeps you on the edge of the seat. It's not like, that's going to happen, don't need to worry, that's going to happen, don't need to worry. Nah, people catch strays here. Like, I'm talking people, like, so much shit happens that you don't know, like, what's going to happen during the action. And that's what's good about having dinosaurs on the mainland, involving people. That's what we really needed, and it's really cool. Let's just say Chaos Theory has a massively higher kill count than Dominion. And on my final topic here about Jurassic World Chaos Theory, you are truly unraveling a mystery as the episodes go on. I actually ended up freaking out the more that clues were discovered. It's like you're actually embedded within the show, like you're learning things, you're identifying things, and it's kind of like a crime drama. That's probably some way I'd put it. There are some scenes in there which are so down to earth, where you just sit there and think, maybe this happened, maybe that happened, and then a new clue is discovered, and you're like, whoa, maybe that happened instead, and that type of stuff I really, really love, and I'm so thankful that we get that in Chaos Theory. Overall, the story was very intact, it made sense, it's intense, exciting, and pushes the boundaries of Jurassic. It focused heavily on the story, and to be honest, this is exactly what the Jurassic World franchise needed, and I'm very excited for Season 2, whenever that might be. Anyways guys, if you enjoyed today's review, please Ask any questions down below. Obviously, I'm not going to be giving spoilers until the spoiler-free weekend is over, but please let me know what you want to know in the comments below. I'll try my best. Head on over to my TikTok. I might be doing a live stream there sometime soon as well regarding Chaos Theory. But if you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new around here. Only just a couple more days for you guys until you get to see Chaos Theory, and I'm so excited for you guys to see it. And I'm pretty sure it'll get a good reception, let's just say that. But in the meantime, make sure you're all staying safe out there, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.